Governors, it's always good to be with you.
Good to be with you.
The Congress and the country are returning attention to immigration reform. In fact, recent national polling is driving the impetus to realize this, showing that the majority of Americans now favor immigration reform in some capacity. And in the presidential election last year, President Obama easily carried the Latino vote over his Republican challenger, Mitt Romney. Governor Florio, is now the time for immigration reform?
Well, the time is long past. We should have had it much earlier. President Roosevelt said we're a nation of immigrants, which is true. Everybody came here from someplace else. Some came sooner, some came later. But the value of our diversity has been something that's a major strength of this country. So appropriate, comprehensive immigration reform is long overdue, and I think it'll happen this year.
Can it happen this time around, Governor Whitman, in your opinion?
I think it's inevitable. The train's left the station. For those who are objecting to it, they've just got to get over it, as the governor said. It's our strength. I mean, Jersey City alone, there are 150 different languages spoken. It's the strength of our state. It gives, in this nation, it gives it its diversity and texture. And the sad thing was that you had 2002, the Bush administration sent an immigration bill to the Hill. You had a Senate pass a version and a House pass a version. And they never even appointed the conference committee. It was a re-election year, and they each wanted to use it against the other side, and real people are being hurt.
And now we have a bipartisan proposal being put forth by the so-called Gang of Eight for Republican senators, for Democratic senators. It's being described by some as a rare moment of simpatico in politics. So is this the real opportunity?
I think so, as long as they don't put things in it that they know one side puts in something they know the other side can't live with.
But there is still a lot of rancor on Capitol Hill.
We've come to appreciate the economic benefits of the immigration, that this is about dollars and cents as much as it is about doing what's right. And it does stand for the proposition that elections count for something. I mean, when we saw the one outcome where the Hispanic community gravitated towards the one party versus the other party just understands that it can't very well just continue to alienate large segments of the growing population.
There are an estimated 11 million plus illegal immigrants living in this country right now. What would be the impact for them, and what are the American people looking for in terms of guarantees in this new legislation when it comes to pass?
Well, first of all, I think Americans do want to see that the borders are going to be monitored and that we're going to have a robust immigration policy that is going to ensure that we don't get a lot of criminals, that kind of thing. They want that out of the way. But they'd want to make sure that people who have come here illegally don't suddenly get a free pass. They're not automatically citizens. They feel that those who have been through the process deserve to get some credit for having been through the process and done it legally. But having said that, they also understand that we've got a lot of young people who are brought to this country by their parents, and they have been here, they've contributed a lot, as their parents are contributing a lot. They want to see a pathway to citizenship.
How do we correctly streamline the process for these people in this legislation, Governor Florio?
Well, I think the legislation, first of all, rejects the proposal that was offered. Governor Romney talked about making conditions so bad that people would self-deport. I mean, that's not going to happen. People want to bring people out of the shadows of living sort of under the radar screen, so to speak. So what we have, the pathway is the good way of putting it. What we want to do is give people an opportunity to have some status so that they're not hiding all the time, come forward, go through the process of ultimately getting the opportunity to be a citizen.
And what about the economic impact? Where does that break down in terms of the illegals who are here, what they bring to this country, and what all of this may cost in the end?
Let's just take Social Security. Today you have 1.9 person paying in for every person who is taking Social Security. And with this immigration bill, you'd add 10 people for every one to that. So it would be up to 11, almost 12, which means very good things for Social Security, because that's right on the cusp right now, unless we do something serious about reforming that. So what we're seeing for the most recent studies is, in fact, the economic benefit would far outweigh the cost.
And in fact, the Congressional Budget Office in Washington estimates that there will be a huge economic boom as a result of this immigration bill.
Most of the industrialized nations in the world are losing population or not gaining population. immigration has been the source of the United States being able to grow appropriately and beneficially.
What about here in New Jersey? An estimated 425 to 500,000 immigrants in this state. What about the economic benefit here?
We have the second largest Puerto Rican population outside of Puerto Rico, the second largest Cuban population outside of Cuba other than Florida. These give us an opportunity to get into countries, to have a relationship with them. When you took trade missions, you had all sorts of doors open because of that. People were interested in coming here, making an investment here. Direct foreign investment was the fastest growing part of our economy back when I was governor.
What about small businesses and what about wages here in this state?
Well, the vibrancy of the immigrant communities is really startling. The entrepreneurial skills that you see driving in the Jersey cities and the Pattersons. Edison has a large Indian American community, which has contributed to the vibrancy of that municipality. So this is something that's injecting into the small business community, into the entrepreneurial ranks, a whole lot of new energy. I mean, all you have to do is think about what it takes to lift yourself up, move around the world to another place that you don't know that much about. I mean, you're almost having a selection of the best that you could find. So, I mean, that's something that's good for this country, always has been.
Governor Florio and Governor Whitman, thank you very much for sharing your perspective.
Pleasure.